We're doing our very first ever YouTube AMA. And of course, we have like one of the biggest projects in the space for our first YouTube AMA. We're giving out 1 ETH tonight. I'm going to be joining the Grok Telegram where our AMA host Maurice is there with the team, the community, and ready to fire this thing up. I'll let Maurice and the Grok team take it away. And thanks for coming out, guys.
Perfect. So I just wanted to say, big shout out first and foremost to everybody who decided to jump in and attend. And it is a pretty big moment here for us at Caesar's Calls. Myself and Caesar have been kind of talking about and kicking the tires on YouTube and kind of branching out to that stream a little bit for a while. And you know, considering some of the history here with some of the admins and the community leads and the token here at Grok, I figured what better project than to bring off and kick this thing off with. So here we have Grok AI. These guys launched on the 4th of November, kind of in the DGen hours. I actually wasn't around the weekend, but as I mentioned, I had Will, one of our community leads and scouts at Caesars, jump into the community at Grok, and he's like, Maurice, the volume, the noise that this community is making is really unique, and it has such a strong narrative following Elon's release and unveiling of his Grok AI product, which we've now learned is going to be worked into products potentially like Tesla and some of the robotics that he's building out in the future. So obviously, in terms of mainstream coverage, you guys are really getting a lot of exposure, and you've seen that translated very well in terms of volume on the chart. Now, we've seen projects, following the Elon narrative take off. Staying power is obviously a big thing, but I think that the organic growth of the community in the early stages is what's gotten everybody, myself included, pretty excited. So I am going to throw it over to Nuke here, who is the community lead behind Grok AI. He's been doing a phenomenal job on spaces and just speaking on behalf of this community. Although they make a lot of noise themselves, they shatter their shield records whenever they throw up a new tweet. So I'm excited to learn a little bit more and have him break down what they're building here for us tonight. So Nuke, I will throw you the mic.
Appreciate it, Maurice, man. As always, it's good to be in the presence of Caesar's Calls, and thank you guys for hosting, man. Whether it's been, folks like Will, obviously, who you guys are close with, that's, been sort of helping to galvanize this community, or, it's been folks like yourself, who haven't been afraid to talk about Grok, even when we're at the higher market caps, and just sort of like introducing people to the narrative, the community, and everybody appreciates it. So as everyone knows, the story of Grok is one that is pretty recent, right? I'd like to give the backstory, which was that Elon Musk was at an AI summit in the United Kingdom, speaking with the Prime Minister there about the challenges that AI faces and just ethical practices within AI. That was this past Thursday, November 2nd. And we all knew that there was going to be some, bullish release around the XAI platform that this past weekend, but no one knew in full to what degree he was going to release, or if it was just going to be like news, or no one really knew what it was going to be. So that Friday night, Elon, on his way back from Germany, they had the GigaFest in Berlin, tweeted out that the name of his AI bot, which will be a direct competitor to ChatGPT and the like, is Grok, right? So a lot of tokens obviously popped up, trying to sort of jump on the hype bandwagon, as often is the case whenever Elon talks about something. But this one was particularly special. This project, immediately from the onset, liquidity was burnt, the taxes were reduced to zero, and it was a fully announced contract. So therefore, it became fully decentralized in a community-driven effort. On top of that, the community began to form, very early on, popping open the voice chat. Everyone started to immediately just take roles, take leads, in order to advance the narrative, right? This wasn't something that was like super sniped up, given the time of day, as you mentioned, Friday night at 10:30 Eastern, 2:30 UTC. This is when Elon tweeted this. This is when this project launched. So because of that, it was actually, probably more beneficial to everyone, because everyone actually had a chance to sort of get in at different channels, channeling between 50 to 100K, 100 to 200, and the like, right? So beyond that, the community again got together. A lot of strategic figures started to pop up into the chat. They saw the energy and the vibes here, and they weren't afraid to sort of push these things into their communities. Spider Crypto honestly was one of the first folks to to talk about this. He got behind it, and everybody appreciated that. Kid Crypto, who from the Kid and Walt show on Twitter Spaces, hopped in. It was very late in the morning, in the night his time when he came in. So again, there was a lot of support from community, not necessarily influencers that were pushing the project. So we were able to establish like really good floors and a really good set of holders and believers. And then, everything else just started to fall into place when the exchange listing started happening. News articles started to talk about Grok. Elon started to tweet. He had promised that he would get the product out for a beta version on November 4th. And sure enough, with 7 minutes left in the day, his local time, he was able to get Grok out. So the coverage around Grok has been, as you mentioned, in almost every type of media, right? It's been talked about on Squawk Box and MSNBC. It's been covered by different publications such as CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, Binance News, Benzinga, Yahoo Finance. The list goes on. So having that type of exposure to the product has been great, but it's not just the product. People are taking note in a lot of these articles about the community, the token, how bullish things have been. So they're bridging the gap between Grok AI, the bot that Elon Musk is creating, and the community here. So, I'll take a stop there. Just wanted to give you guys like the high level intro to sort of how things got started, and pretty much bring it to the start of the week.
Yeah, no, and again, we had some talk about it in a few different groups that I'm in on, I think, what was it, early Monday, maybe mid Monday, and people were like, what's the thoughts on this dip on Grok? Like, where do you think it's going to go from here? I think it was maybe sitting around 9-10 million at that point. And I think most people who actually had taken the time to check out the community, like you'd mentioned, which has been the strength of this one, I think so far at making noise and really getting attention and pulling people in to interact and engage with you. I think people who had actually taken the time to join the community really were like, yeah, no, a dip is healthy in a project that maybe kind of grows very quickly and maybe a little bit unexpectedly out of the blue. So, it's nice to see that you guys have really recovered well from what some people were a little bit skeptical of. And again, with breaking a new all-time high tonight, it seems like whenever you have a little bit of a retracement, which anybody knows for distribution purposes and whatnot, it is healthy. There's people with eyes on the project and there's volume waiting to come in. So, I mean, very, very bullish signs in the early stages. And I guess I wanted to get into some of the ways that you guys have really been able to organically build the community, because I've seen some people engaging with you guys in the comment section and just some awesome people in the name list from joining the TG here. So what's been some of your strengths, Nuke, just to building this up organically?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, sometimes, the stars align, right? And, the folks that are in this community, the folks that are holders, the folks that are in the spaces, these are people that sort of understand, how DeFi works. They understand larger narratives that happen in real life. They know how to network, and they honestly are just really good people. We have, there's a lot of synergy that's happening here. So, I can't, put that past anything. Obviously, we have a great narrative, a great project. We were handed, a beautiful project, and I think everybody understands the importance of Grok. Steve Jobs, he once said, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backward. And that's something that always resonated with me because while you can't really, there's no crypto crystal ball, there's no crystal ball in life that can sort of predict the future for you. Sometimes you can see elements of things that were familiar, right? And you try to emulate that in like the next thing that you do. And one thing that this community has done really well, as we've all been talking about this, is that there's something that feels entirely familiar about this, right? And because of that, when we talk about familiarity, we're talking about really, really successful projects and things that are going to be groundbreaking, beyond the realm of which we could understand. So we have that familiar thing where we're like, okay, I've been in a community like this before. I've been in a project like this before. I've been in a narrative like this before, right? So it feels familiar, so it feels good. And I think the difference here, though, is that anytime something feels familiar, then you start to create those like one-to-one comparisons. And the thing that's really stood out so far about Grok is that while it feels familiar, it also feels different. It also feels unprecedented. So because of that, the folks on the ground, that sort of got what was going on day one, they knew what gift that we had here, right? So, and I think we've been really good at explaining what Grok is, how it's going to challenge ChatGPT, how it's on the forefront of generative AI as opposed to what ChatGPT, at least the version that was out before the one that they just released, how it's going to be challenging the tech that they have, right? So we've been good about explaining that. We've been good about explaining how the manifestation of the media coverage and the exposure we were going to have, and also, it just really comes down to people getting, getting their hands dirty based on the fact that they believe in what we're building here, right? So again, everyone that had the big brains to say like this is a good project and a good narrative, and like, yeah, this feels familiar. It feels familiar, but yet it's different. It's not that they're just sitting and waiting. Everybody's like working because we know we can bring this to. So, obviously folks have been leading raids like Polly Pocket, like she's been killing it. She's been super positive, motivating everyone. Everybody loves her. Same thing with Cycles Calls and, Hefty and the rest of these guys have really been pushing. We take a very organic approach as well. So if people that are new, we don't want to make it like and turn it into like a boys club, right? Like nobody wants to come into a voice chat and just hear, people talking over the other person, not letting anyone speak, not letting anyone ask questions or give suggestions. Like this entire thing is community driven. So everybody has the same mic, right? Like everyone has the opportunity to come up and push this. So we've had a lot of folks who've self-describe themselves as lurking. They lurk and then they'll come up into the voice chat. We've actually seen this and they said, listen guys, I'm convinced I'm in, and they literally have bought on voice chat. So I think what we're doing here is a great grassroots approach. I think it's true to crypto. It's true to decentralization, and it's going to be proving for this next cycle like what a successful project and community-driven effort should look like.
That was
What you
a
brought
hell
up
of a
there with
locker room
regards
speech,
to the
baby.
respect aspect, because when you are kind of targeting something that is being launched and run by the founder of X, which is, primarily, especially in crypto, a tool for rating and engagement, you have to walk that line. And I know I asked you this question the first time I had you on the mic when we were on the Kid and Walt show on Sunday, right? And it's what's impressed you about the community as you've gone through that process of growing and I guess adding new members in here who are a little bit less familiar with the way you go about business. Like what are some of the tools you guys have used to implement it, and what's really impressed you in these early stages as you've gone about kind of your rating and your engagement, especially on Twitter with, Elon really monitoring things so tightly?
Yep. So to answer the first part about, obviously when you have a product that comes out that's owned by the person who owns and manages Twitter, you have to sort of tiptoe that line, very finely, and give sort of credence and respect to the fact that that's his product, something that he's worked on for a long period of time, and something that he owns, the namesake to. And we, sort of identified that we want to be sort of like basically almost like just marketing this name. We are Grok community, right? We're Grok token, we're Grok DeFi, we're decentralized. We don't own Grok AI, Grok bot, and everybody in the community understands that. And when we raid, we show respect to that. And I think that's also, kind of what's impressed me is that everyone sort of understands what we're doing. We'll have, when we tweet things out, when we rate it, it might just be like a funny meme. And then other folks will sort of come underneath that and talk a little bit more about the token or just get a little bit pumped about it. So we've been showing a lot of respect that way. Our official Twitter account definitely generally only posts like memes and just like, just bullish things to say about Grok without necessarily pushing a token or telling people to buy more or any of that kind of stuff or any sort of moon boy talk. And I think that's what this community continues to press everyone on, is that, it's really sort of self-governed, right? So anytime that anyone sees someone come in and they're doing something that sort of goes against the culture that we're establishing here, somebody will check you, right? Because they're like, hey, look, we're not about that, something that Will had said, that really stuck with me is that, it doesn't matter sort of what market caps that we're at. and things, and it's a lot. It's very good to feel the success and see that growth over a period of time. But no matter what, you got to keep that mentality that we're still a 100K market cap token trying to become a 200K market cap token, and that like we're still like we just launched like maybe an hour ago, and we're trying to just do whatever we can to get the word out. So we can't lose that fire. And in this particular community and team, we've had this approach that we're all gas, no brakes, right? Like we're going to go and push this as hard as we can because you only get one chance at something like this. And so you have to start from the start. You have to do everything as right can be. And that's what I think everyone signed up for. And it's super impressive.
I've noticed the same thing. And yeah, big shout out to the community here. We joked yesterday when I was in the VC, just some of the fun, right? Because you do have to have a fun with what is and kind of starting as a meme, right? And there's great positives when you talk about what a meme can do for community engagement and the fun aspect, right? So you guys have been, grokking it with your, I don't want to say it on YouTube, but yeah, the line if you're familiar with American Pie, but it's been really cool just to see some of the content and the creativity that your community has also had. So what have you guys been doing? Because I know it's a community driven token, it's a 0-0 tax. So there's not a lot of funds kind of coming from a team. There's no team token set aside, in that sense. So what have you guys been able to do to really get people to want to work with your community and create content without needing feeling like they're not getting enough back or feeling like they need to get something in return?
Grok in and of itself, once Grok, Elon sort of tweeted out about Grok, of course, we had to get the token stuff sorted and finalized and get all the, initial things done like the DEX tools update and that kind of stuff. But then, we all started to like do our research, right? We started to see, what's the etymology of the word Grok? Like, where does it derive from, right? Like, where has it been used in pop culture previously? And as we started to look into these things, we started to just sort of like the idea of Grok. And we also realized how smart Elon is for naming the bot Grok, right? But then we just started to just play around with it in voice chat, and everyone just sort of liked it, like Grok. They're like, oh, Grok Lesnar. Do you smell what the Grok is cooking? Grokky Balboa. I mean, the list goes on. So because of that, it's just something that people generally like, right? So when you're creating, sort of like a cult community, what we have to do is make sure that we are keeping like a sort of bridge between sort of community leads and also just folks that are here rating in the TG and things like that. So we always keep the voice chat open. We always keep the conversations sort of fun and dynamic. So there's a little bit something for everyone else to sort of talk about or to sort of contribute to. So I think those things are like super important to keep things organic. People are actually here, not because there's an incentive if they win a meme contest or something like that. They're creating memes because they like to create memes and they think that Grok is kind of cool and funny, right? Like that's what's been critical. That's what I was saying. Like the stars really aligned on this one, and it was up to us to really just organize and galvanize people and just sort of encourage everyone to see the bigger picture. And I think that everyone has done that well.
Fantastic answer, for sure. And then another thing I wanted to jump into is more on the utilization of tech, right? Because you're getting so many new people into the community and onboarding not only people who are familiar with crypto, but maybe people who just saw Grok on Twitter and then they started looking at it and all of a sudden there's a token and maybe they're trying to bridge that gap and they want to learn more. So like, how have you guys been using, I know you've been really utilizing the Shield bot from a rating perspective to help keep things clean and concise and the messaging, nice across the board. But what are some of the tools to help onboard people, just because Elon does have such a big reach and it's not just crypto people who may come across your community?
Yeah, I mean, so the basic bit, which is, and it's kind of continues the conversation we were just having, is creating fostering an environment where you can have open dialogue and not leaving things sort of one-dimensional, right? Like to me, I never liked coming into a voice chat and just hearing people talk about the chart constantly, talk about the price, talk about Pump, right? And hearing, these songs that like just really kind of feels like moon boyish, right? So you want to be able to establish a dialogue, really, a continual dialogue across every single facet. Of course, you can talk about the chart. Of course, you can talk about those things. But, it's also important to talk about what's underpinning this, because if you don't mention that Elon, if you don't talk about the philosophy of Grok, right? If you don't talk about that, Elon, obviously, he used to work with OpenAI. There were some things that he didn't appreciate about the direction they were taking that bot. Whether it was like, the fact that the bot might have been a little bit more politically leaning, the fact that it wasn't using sort of real time, people's sentiment to sort of like, give responses. The fact that the people that were programming it are what he calls extinctionist. And extinctionists are people that want the planet to live on, but they believe the planet is better if there's no humans on it. So if those people are programming AI, right, that becomes problematic. So he wanted to give everybody a fair shake and a fair shot to use artificial intelligence and to have like sort of like an unbiased bot that the guardrails are off on, right? So because of this, having these types of discussions is what's allowing people to sort of see like the larger picture of Grok outside of us. We can't underscore how massive it is what Elon's doing, right? And we can't pretend like it's not a big deal. And like the guy, I mean, he literally posted basically a meme contest from the Grok account that he has, right? Where he's looking for the best, sort of meme slash like, responses that Grok's given people, and the Grok account has been retweeting it. We love that in crypto, right? So we can't underscore like how important that is. The things that we'll do, and some of the stuff that, I've been working on in the background, is sort of creating like, not a pitch deck, but sort of like, like a quick summary, the 101 on Grok, right? So that anyone that's new sort of gets what is Grok AI, right? From the Elon perspective, what's Grok the token, right? And like what's Grok community, right? And so, putting something together like that is basically, giving someone the quick, like high level 101, but we've been managing it really well from the dialogue we're having in TG with text, and also what we're doing on spaces, what we're doing in the voice chats, like everything seems to be working. And of course, the media is covering this. It's like the media is actually doing some of the work for us. So that's really helpful.
And obviously with that kind of free exposure, you're able to maximize like the benefit to the project and really, again, put the funds that you guys do have to the best benefit. So I wanted to kind of go into a little bit more on the tech, right? Because sometimes people jump into a project without understanding like the vision. Like I know you gave a little bit of an overview in the beginning, but I did want to kind of take a deeper dive with you, Nuke, on some of the ways in which that the team or the community here is already trying to integrate themselves in with the beta testing, the early sign up phases of Grok, and just how you guys are trying to support that narrative, because obviously the better it does, the more attention it gets long term. Just that mutual benefit for you hopefully is there, right? So yeah, I kind of wanted to jump into that with you.
Yeah, certainly. So obviously, with the wide range of reach that Grok, the name itself, has, of course, it's drawn the attention of a lot of different communities, and we've gotten a lot of requests from different project teams to sort of come on board because they see overlap, with their projects in their communities, or maybe just in their personal life. They like, Grok in and of itself. So, we've had the ability to sort of, cross-pollinate with these guys. We've hosted joint spaces, joint AMAs, and we continue to get invites. So, it's not just, our particular community that's, contributing to the understanding of Grok. It's other communities as well. And that's, super, super impressive for me from my end, because I don't normally see this on other projects here. In terms of understanding the tech, a lot of us have been doing our research, right? That's why we haven't really been phased by anything, is because we continue to look into, sort of what Grok is going to, sort of be from a tech perspective, right? So we continue to look at the articles, we continue to play around with like similar bots and things of that nature. Right now, Elon has only released this to the like premium subscribers who were like basically like the first batch of people that got premium. So of course, there's going to be limits to who in our community was one of the first premium subscribers on Twitter. But what we did do, most of us in this community, we all requested beta access. So, that should be coming in the next couple of days. A lot of people here have been getting blue checks on Twitter, things of that nature. So, we're all trying to expand our reach as much as possible. But it's super critical that, for a project like this, that we invite other people up who are, definitely more wiser than us on this subject. We have, not Caesar from Caesar Calls, but Caesar from our community. He's a guy that's worked in tech for the past 20 years, and he works with storage, and he always comes up and he's talking about, the implications of, generative AI and Grok in respect to, his field within storage, right? We were hosting a Twitter Spaces the other day, and there was someone who came up who wasn't even in crypto, right? Like she just wanted to talk about emotional intelligence within artificial intelligence, right? So we're starting to have these discussions from people that are outside of the community who want to sort of talk about, the relationships between sort of, their particular projects and things like that. And then we have ourselves organically getting more familiar with AI, getting more familiar with the terminology. And then also just people from outside of crypto in and of itself that are bringing up these very valid subject areas. Grok is going to raise a lot of questions. With ChatGPT, schools allowed for it to be implemented because, ChatGPT won't go down certain paths, right? But when you're dealing with generative AI, which is going to allow for, the production of images, audio, visuals, etc., and you're dealing with Grok, who's able to look at conversations, that you're having on Twitter and sort of generate responses based on somebody's rhetoric, so as a great example, there was a fellow today that had said, asked Grok, like, hey, what's, a good way to respond to, user XYZ? And then Grok looked at user XYZ's Twitter and gave up a really good response of what to say to that person based on how that person speaks on Twitter. So that's a really powerful tool. And because there's no filters, you've seen Grok is a little bit sassy, it curses, it does all sorts of stuff. The questions are going to come up. How is this raised in schools? How can we implement this? Should this be implemented in schools? Because this product is not just built into Twitter. It'll be standalone, meaning that you can implement this anywhere and build you could build applications on top of it. So, we're going to have people that's coming in that want to talk about these different subject areas. So, that's sort of what we've done to sort of get a deeper dive into this, and that's what's allowing us to market and rate as good as we have, because anytime we find something new, right, about the tech, we're like, oh, here's the guy who created this piece of tech that's specific to Grok. Let's rate him, and that's how we keep expanding our reach.
You've alluded to it a couple times as well, Nuke, in terms of the fact that the stars have kind of aligned on this one. And I did want to go back, how long had the team or maybe the individuals who really follow Elon been aware? Because you'd mentioned that summit, but, to be able to pivot, I know it's, relatively quick to launch a CA in the space, but do have to have certain things lined up for it to go well, because I've seen so many failed launches with good potential narratives, but they just didn't line up properly. They maybe didn't have the connections that you guys were able to pull in the early stages. So I did just want to talk a little bit and kind of go back to the launch and kind of what you guys were able to do to sustain that growth. And yeah, for me, it's just been really impressive. And like I've seen from anybody in the community, you guys are always rating. There's a ton of organic support come along. I got to shout out Psycho because I know you mentioned him earlier. I've sat on 20 different spaces that he's been in just listening, and he typically hangs out for like 2+ hours. So I know he's really engaged when he follows a project. So shout out to him.
I don't mean to segue too much, but it's just like, look at this community, right? Like we're in the middle of this, really cool AMA. We've got live stream going with Caesar's Calls, first ever YouTube AMA. that's being streamed, and Polly's in the chat raiding hard, like there's no tomorrow. That's this community, man. I love seeing this. In terms of kind of like identifying like why this was so particularly special. I mean, Kid Crypto, I'm not sure if you're able to talk right now, but a lot of us have had backgrounds, where we've seen, again, familiar narratives yet different. We've been a part of projects and teams yet different, right? And so we all kind of got the sense that this one was the one. We just had the right holders come in. But Kid Crypto, I'm not sure if you could talk about a little bit, so from your experience, having been on, similar sort of Elon type projects, like how you were able to say, like, this is the one I want to attach myself to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Those that know me or have known me for a long time, back in 2021, the first Elon tweet, I guess, or thing related to Elon as far as a meme token, had launched. I had worked on the core team there and had saw it through basically almost to $1 billion market cap. And, obviously that was during, the bull run and what have you. But as far as like just looking at it from a statistic type perspective and what have you, the growth that we've seen with Grok is unprecedented. Honestly, the how fast things are moving, I've only had that experience once, and that was literally, in Elongate, where a community felt like it just kind of spawned, in like a week's time. And, the momentum over here, very much so mirrors that. Also, the crowd of people that are attracted to Elon Musk as far as, what he's doing for the world, as far as tech and things like that. It's attracted a very eclectic bunch of people. And, and that's what I'll say, very much so mirrors Elongate, very high quality. A lot of people that get it, that interact very well with people, able to, convey the message and, and build together. And honestly, that's really been the shining spot, is just the collective. It's, just like Nuke was saying, people work in synergy. We consider ourselves a project that wants to run in parallel with Grok, and and to be something that Elon can have fun with, as far as like a community and people that respect them. So, as far as what we've got going, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a tip of the cap from Elon at some point down the road, as long as we just keep the same type of temperament and stuff as far as the community and how we interact. This thing right here has endless potential.
Oh, and that's, a great kind of segue, because something I wanted to get into with you guys was milestones, but you said it very well, Kid, which is when things are moving so quickly, it's tough to really pinpoint or set milestones, right? Because you're like, a lot of projects will say, okay, if we hit 5 million total, like that's successful. Some projects will say if we hit 5 million within the first, 30 days, that's successful. Well, you guys have come out and you've passed 30 million in less than a week. So, I mean, it's tough to almost set and gauge milestones. And I wanted to throw this one to Nuke or Polly or Doug or Will or anybody on kind of the speaker side of things here tonight. Like, what are some of your favorite milestones or your moments that keep you excited and keep you really active and believing in what Grok is trying to build?
So, on the milestone front, just to jump onto that same narrative, of course, like when no one heard of the word Grok before this past Friday, if you're launching a project, typically, you'll put some thought into what that roadmap looks like, what your marketing strategy is going to be, how you're going to, support the community and build a community. So you have time to like sort of pre-think and pre-bake all that out. When something like this happens, of course, have been other Elon tweets, and people for years have been waiting for like, when's the next time he's going to do a Doge tweet or a baby Doge or a Floki or a Shib, right? He literally supported the pumps of all of those tokens to all-time highs, and their names that we'll never forget because of that, and also Optimus as well. So those are names we'll never forget because of that. So everyone's been sort of waiting for that next project, right? So the thing is, when you have the correct people, as Kid was saying, people always attach themselves to Elon in this space. And so those that, keep up to date and are doing their research continually in the space and doing their networking and doing and listening to people talk and what they're talking about, something like this, something like Grok is going to attract those minds to a project like this, right? And that's just what happened here. And then in terms of, building out a roadmap and thinking about what those milestones are, you have to be very agile. You can't, and you have to adopt and adapt to what's happening, right? So again, there's been a lot of media coverage around this. Elon's constantly tweeting. We had no clue he was basically going to do a meme contest, right? So we pivot, based on, sort of the developments as they come out, right? And then just in terms of milestones, what I'm sort of like happy about. The thing that I'm the most happy about in terms of a milestone, to be quite honest, is that we continually have like 100 people in the voice chat, not just numbers or just people just sitting there. We have 100 people all actively engaged and listening and participating. Maybe not all at once, but they come up. They may take a few hours or a few days to sort of come in and chat, but they do it. So for me, like that's been the most like significant milestone, because that's reflective of the fact that we're doing something special that people are noticing. We haven't onboarded any influencers. We haven't paid anybody for any influence or anything like that. So if you see anyone in our Twitter spaces, trust and believe that maybe for them, they just bought or they're just interested in that. That's all that it is. Of course, they want to push this forward, but truth be told, it's really just community, and we're going to prove a point, basically to the entire space, that you can do this, if given the right narrative and everybody works together, right? You can push something forward, and you can be a part of crypto history, really.
Yeah, Nuke, amazing. Listening to you,
Yeah, go ahead,
Nuke, it's so amazing. I could listen for hours, and I could myself also talk for hours about this project because I'm so excited. Unfortunately, I'm not really a whale, I would say, here, because this launched during my sleep. Coming to your question also, Maurice, so I woke up on Saturday morning and I checked what the first thing we do, we check the TG and Twitter and what's going on in crypto space. And I don't actually remember where I saw it, but I saw Grok at 3 million or whatsoever. I said, damn, what's this? Never heard of this before. And then quite soon I found out, okay, that's an Elon tweet. And like many others, in the first moment, I thought, okay, just another Elon tweet. But thank God I did further research and found out directly, okay, this is Elon's ChatGPT competitor, and this is special. So coming to your question, and I will try to make it short. Whenever I try to assess a project, do I invest or not, I need USPs. We all gamble here and there, but if you really take a serious investment, I check, does this project have any USP? So what makes it special? Unique selling propositions. And touching the base layer, we have zero tax, and we have a burned liquidity. That's, so to say, from a security standpoint, that was very important. But then I have actually 4, let's say, touchstones or checkboxes, which are really unprecedented in this project. I've not seen it before in this combination, especially. There are four points I check. For example, first the narrative, and then the community, the marketing, and in this case also the timing. So these are the 4 things I touched, and we also had several, let's say, during the last days, several developments, so to say, which even I was bullish from the start, but all what happened, the ups and downs, made us all even more bullish, and made us, let's say, almost all DCA up. Even on the way up, we bought more. So the narrative with Elon, we discussed, it's unprecedented. It's not been done before, and especially also the marketing. So many people said, yeah, I've been before in similar projects, similar Elon projects, but usually that have been Elon tweet projects, or where you're not really engaged But here, from the first day, Elon was posting and posting and posting about Grok, and this has not been done before, and that is what makes this special, this project so special, and giving it such a potential. And the community was there from day one, and there is always a question: egg or chicken? What was is the community so strong because of the project, or the project so strong because of the community? So people came together because they saw the potential, and from the first hours, let's say there were 100 people in the VC, and it was crazy. We have been through many things since then, and there was one special, let's say, occasion, which for me was a make or break point for this project. We had I don't remember exactly, 2-3 days ago at 10 million or so, we had a rogue mod who really, who deleted people, who posted some other contracts, who, really flooded like mad. And this was a point, this took maybe 1 or 2 hours till it was solved. But this was really the testing point for this whole project, in my point of view, and for the whole community. And we've been through this so well that for me, this is now immortal with all the special things, especially related to it. And it was a crazy ride, but we just only started 5 days ago. So we are all so early. And we are all looking forward for the next weeks and months, what we can achieve here together. And the community is really amazing. I've not seen something like this before, despite I'm in the industry also since 6 years. So I've seen a few things already, but I've not been a part of such a great community yet.
And
And
thanks so
to
much for jumping in, Doug. Sorry to cut you off, Paul. You can go ahead. I just wanted to kind of say thank you to Nuke and Doug so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Just following what they had already said regarding these big milestones, the thing that I always reminded people of too, because I never got the chance to kind of hop on one of the Elon narratives, and then seeing this one and realizing, oh, this is one of his products. This isn't a one shot. This isn't a word that he may or may not say again. And realizing he is our biggest caller. He will work for his bags. He is shilling his bags. It's amazing to see that, and amazing to see a community that supports that and understands we're both working with each other. Elon's working with us. We're working with Elon. And that's an amazing moment as a community when you realize that. And I would say, going off of what Doug said, that day that Rogue Mug, Meta, everyone's a little nervous. Everyone decided at some point or another, what can I do? Not everyone is great at everything at all times. People started creating memes. I set up shop in the VC. And in those moments, as a community, you want to hear from people that have they're invested in the project. I'm invested in maybe a little baby bag, but I'm in it with you guys. So hearing other people join in, stay in there all day long, that's amazing. That's what you want to see. And as a community, it brought back, more confidence and understanding. Dips are normal. It's a part of it. But from there, look at where we are right now. How many people are in this VC alone? That's amazing. We surpassed all-time high during this. That just shows you how far this is going to go.
Yeah, and I think it's great to have different voices in the community too. I think Nuke said, the way you guys have built up the community, the way you've rallied around some of the, I'm not going to call them low points, but tougher times. Although it's been a week, there are down times for every project, and you guys have really rallied around them well as a community. And I think that's why the belief from those that are in here is so strong. So Will, I'll throw you the mic.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, Maurice. You guys been doing an amazing job. You guys been absolutely knocking it out the park. But yeah, when it comes to milestones, everybody's been bringing something different to the table. And in terms for me, first of all, we have a lot of people with a lot of experience in the space that kind of been ensuring confidence in times of uncertainty. And that's really been helping out too, right? Because we've had couple moments like what they just mentioned, what happened with a rogue mod, and when the chart takes a dip for newer people in the space, obviously that might create some fear, but you have people with a lot of experience in the space that kind of just just create that confidence. Like we had BTC, ETH, XRP, a lot of these big boys, they were pumping, and I knew it was only a matter of time, which ended up being the very next day when they would consolidate a little bit, and a lot of that liquidity would end up coming, trickling down to the smaller projects, to DeFi, to alts, meme coins. And that's kind of what happened the next day. We recovered really nicely, from 5.5, we went up to about 27 million. But in terms of milestones too, just I haven't been worried about price action much at all, because I knew we were doing all the right things, right? We were cooking up the right recipe, and we were executing as a community together. And I knew the chart would speak from that, so when we hit like 10 million market cap, I would joke around and say like, that's cute, but we've barely scratched the surface. We hit 20 million market cap, that's cute. And then today, when we hit all-time high again, I went in the VC. I'm like, hey guys, just to let you know,
Will,
just in case
you're
anybody
cute.
hasn't noticed, we hit all-time high again. Once again, that's cute, but there's still a lot of work to be done, So when it comes to milestones, we just been, knocking them out, but at the same time, not paying too much attention, not telling people like, hey, it's only, such X to get to 1 billion. We haven't really been worried about that, because the community is just kind of grinding. As you guys stated, we've been hitting Twitter hard. And then, we're trying to implement new ideas in terms of what other social media outlets we can attack, build a Reddit community, hit Instagram. Facebook is becoming a major player again with all the things that, Zuckerberg's been implementing into that. And, it's really coming together. Everybody brings something different to the table, but as one, we create this really cohesive unit, and it's just really been working well. It's a formula that I think other projects are going to be able to learn from, and that's great when it comes to major players in the space or projects that do really well. They set these new standards that other people, when they join a community like that, they're going to look for that when it comes to other projects. And if they don't see that, it's probably going to turn them off, right? Because it's kind of like a professionalism that we've brought aboard. Yeah, it's the meme space, and we're going to joke around, it's going to be fun, but at the same time, we have to create that structure. We have to create that culture, and that's what's been going on. And I know many other milestones are to come, but at the same time, we're just focused on what's been working. How can we double down on that? And yeah, man, it's been a beautiful thing to see and to be a part of.
Yeah, no, and it's great to hear from all of you. And I know Kid jumped in earlier, with a couple things to say. So it's phenomenal to really get a chance to listen to your feedback. And for me, when you start to talk about, as Will mentioned, bigger milestones or bigger market caps, a thing that you're going to want to look for, a thing that's, larger investors or whales that are jumping on board at these higher caps are going to look at is going to be holder distribution. I know it's more of a boring topic, but it's, so important for anybody to really look at, and something to understand as people, again, are trying to jump in at maybe potentially higher caps than those who invested sub 1 million, sub 5 million. So I wanted to kind of transition a little bit, if that's okay, to more on the
Sure.
kind of holder side and the distribution, especially within like maybe the top 50, because I think there's around 50 wallets. I know there's a couple dead and, deployer exchange wallets holding some larger amounts, but yeah, just how you guys are going to ensure that you can attract those larger investors needed to push those caps, and kind of break down from the distribution why you think it's still attractive.
Yeah. So the first bit is going to be, how did launch go? Because if you look at distribution on launch, a lot of the times you're going to get a good picture of like how like a chart will be able to perform from a health perspective, right? And so the first bit you need to understand is that of the first 70 wallets that purchase this token, only 2 remain. Okay, so there aren't a lot of people that actually got in super, super early that are still here, right? So that's super important. Because a lot of people say, they think that's not fair, whatever else it is. So, that becomes a challenge. And you don't, holding the floor with people who got in under, 50K market cap is oftentimes a very difficult thing to do. I wouldn't say it'd be difficult for Grok to do, because this one's just too strong, but I understand why that can cause some apprehension for people. But on this particular project, that's just not the case. So we're in a good position there. The second bit is going to be around, the other sort of large wallets that we've started to see that exist. And there's not many of them. I think like of the top 15 wallets, only the top 15 wallets even hold above 1%, right? That's it. So the rest of the holders, we have 6,500 holders. Everybody else is under 1%. The thing is, the bigger wallets that we have are actually acquiring as we go up, right? So a lot of people are buying into positions, right? We've seen it on voice chat. People have come in at 15 million market cap, and they are basically creating support in the chart, and they're dropping in 10 to 15 clips because they believe in this narrative. So at the end of the day, it becomes very expensive if you want to get a 1%, a 0.5%, or a 0.2% wallet, right? So it's a free market, and of course, folks are able to buy and sell as they would like. But right now, the holder distribution is actually really good because, again, we, I think when we were at 1 million market cap the first time we crossed that threshold, we only had like 300, 400 holders. And we come back down, and then it consolidates and redistributes, and that's what we've been doing. And we've consistently seen the holder count go up. Even if the price goes down, the holder count has been going up. The last piece I'll touch on right here, our number one holder is Grok.ETH. Now, I actually knew who this person was, and but it wasn't my responsibility, or it wasn't for me to dox that person, right? They chose to do that today, and that person is Spider Crypto. He changed his name on Twitter to Grok.ETH. And those of you that don't know Spider Crypto, he is literally one of the first crypto Twitter people that I've ever came across in the space before crypto Twitter existed. Back in the day, people would talk about crypto, but you would do it from like your actual Twitter account. You wouldn't do it from, some random profile picture or whatever else. Like, real people having real conversations. And he's someone who's gotten behind a lot of large efforts that have gone to billions of market cap and have supported and is still holding down communities. As an example, he was instrumental on SafeMoon, and he still was supporting that community even through what they've dealt with over the past couple of days. So if you're looking for, what they call friendly whales, people who are going to not just, and he's been buying on the way up, people that are going to help, later on down the line when it comes to, maybe certain different partnerships and listings and things like that. Like, these are the kind of folks you want in your corner.
Great answer as well. I didn't know if Caesar maybe wanted to jump in now. I know he said he wanted to come on the mic and throw a few questions as well, because he's been following this one even longer than myself, and he spent some time in the community just watching, and obviously him and Will, chat daily. So I'm not sure if he's going to jump on now or if he wanted to come on a little bit later in the stream, but he said if we had some time, I could throw him the mic.
Basically, I just wanted to tell the community, like, I've been in, Nuke's position before, Will, where I'm the guy that the community kind of relies on. And don't just try to lean on them for everything. You got to do it together, and I'm sure you have so far. But when the chart starts to dip or whatever, like all of them do, people always look for someone to fix it. So it's got to be all of you together, and that's how fucking the degen space was created. It was people working together, shilling Shiba all over the place, and that's what we need again. So please let this be the coin that sets that example, and that's my little locker room speech. Don't rotate to like all the new hype shit that you see out there. Just try to stick with this one and see where it goes. So that's the locker room speech.
Yeah,
now I got a couple questions too, though. Normally we open the floor to our community after the AMA because they have great questions and they really make the dev think a lot about their projects and stuff. But I'll take it for this one so the AMA doesn't last forever. I'll have a couple that I wrote down. You might have covered this, so forgive me, but I was just wondering, like, so clearly, like, none of you are the devs, so how did that go, like, the process of the dev giving you guys control of the project and promoting certain admins? And is he the owner of the TG, or, like, how's that all work?
Everything happens the way that it was supposed to happen. And when I talked, one of the things that we talk about here, that we've been sort of breeding into this culture is, it's just divine timing, right? And the stars aligning. And it does happen every now and then. And when it does, you can't mess it up. So from that perspective, when this launched, obviously the dev has to do a lot of things in order to get this, for us to be number one, right? So clean launch, burns liquidity, no taxes, no tax farm, none of that happens, right? No airdrop wallets, that kind of stuff. And so you're focusing on that. You also want to get the DEX tool socials updated. But of course, you didn't build a website. before this launch, because how could you have known, right? So you got to focus on those things. The dev has been around the space, saw some of these familiar names, familiar voices, taking these leadership opportunities. Did the thing of promoting the people that you could lean on in those types of moments, and it's all organically happened. The stars simply are aligning. The timing of which things have happened for us, are just going beyond anything that is sort of like you can explain fully, but it just happens that way. We've turned on Twitter Spaces. I turned on Twitter Spaces, and we're like trying to galvanize the community, get people going. And then like 2 minutes later, Elon tweets out "Grok, Grok, Grok." Right? It's like we've had community members, respond to Elon's tweets again because we're doing it the right way. Elon liked one of our community members' tweets. Elon commented under another community member's post to the Doge creator. Doge creator tweeted out something. We replied. Hefty replied. And said, "Hey, we want to give you some Grok. What's your wallet?" He sent us the wallet in that post. Elon responded underneath that thread with an exclamation point. So, when I talk about like the divine timing and the stars aligning, it's happening here. It's happening here. So, the dev, again, like there's not much like, that's super in his control anyway, that is really gonna, sort of like, get in the way, right? Like, and because of that, like, he chose to sort of take the back seat, let the community do its thing, but he's been very supportive. Obviously, he wants to see this succeed. Very active on Twitter, tweeting out the right things. He created a Grok bot that he produced in the chat, which is kind of funny. It's like the autist version of Grok, and it's not something that we're saying is one-to-one at all with Elon's product or anything like that. But like clearly, Dev is active, Dev is pushing. Dev thinks this is going to go to very, very high places. So, but this is a fully community-driven effort, and to have the foresight to let the community sort of take its places, I think is really good. So that's what I can say about that. And yes, he owns the TG. A few of us have full admin rights now, we appoint new moderators based on the people who sort of are taking initiative and leading and that kind of stuff. It's been good.
When I first came in this voice chat, I was trying to spy. I was like, what are they talking about in there? How's it always open? Like, what's the vibe like? And I don't want to compare you to another coin to be unfair against both of you, but I'm going to do it anyways. But it reminded me of Suka, which I spent some time in. And, like, the thing in Suka was no one was ever, like, worried. No one was watching the chart. No one was, like, discussing anything about the project, like chart-wise or whatever. It was just like a calm, zen place where people just hung out. And I sort of get that vibe from you guys, and I'm sure it's a lot to do with like you and Will and these great admins you have. And I just think it's great stuff because you keep bringing in more normies to a voice chat like that with someone like Nuke at the helm and his energy and his education and expertise. And I think it becomes more than just a coin. I think it becomes a movement, like in crypto. You get all these like good people that you can trust together, and like no one's going on voice chats anymore and talking to each other and building and growing stuff. So I think it's a really big step. Don't take that as a lot of pressure on you, but I think you guys have some insane potential to help change the space for good once again. And I joined here, I saw Holstack was an admin who I've been super close with Holstack for quite a while. And then I saw Psycho, same thing. Nuke, obviously. Will, and then I saw Quincy, who I hadn't seen since 2021. And I was just like blown away. I was like, this is the same vibes as when I first got into crypto, and like all these people were working together. So I just wanted to say that, and that's all I had to say.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. I hadn't come across a lot of these folks before on any projects. We've never worked together. We didn't, tap each other's shoulders and say, "Hey guys, let's do this and let's pump." It's just the folks that sort of came together on this one. So nothing but good things to say. The community, anytime we have like a little bit of a bump, the folks here that have seen it before have been able to guide people through any of the challenges that we may see. So, what I've been saying is, if you're getting on an airplane, right, you're taking off and you're trying to get to a destination. The pilots and the flight attendants and the people who are seasoned travelers, if we go through turbulence, they never get worried. right? Because they know, okay, we're flying through a little bit of a storm, we get a little bit of chop, right? And so it's their job to ensure that others around them understand, like, the plane's not just going to fall out of the sky. It's just a little few bumps. And what happens when you come out of that turbulence? Everybody's calm. Everyone's getting up to go to the bathroom now, everything else, right? And so it's the same thing that's happening here. It's like we're just guiding everyone to say, look, this is going to happen. Don't worry about it. With great, power comes great responsibility, like, Uncle Ben said, right? But what are we doing ultimately? We're trying to get to a destination. So we get through the chop together. Everyone feels smooth. Everyone feels calm, right? And then we land safely at our destination. And, that's what this community is doing.
Did want to go into kind of what's next. So like what's I'm not going to go too long down the time frame, but what's the rest of the week looks like? What does everything look like going into next week? What are some of the exciting things people new to the community, people familiar with the community here at Grok can look forward to?
So there are a lot of people who aren't involved with this token, who want to see it succeed. And the one thing that I will say that I've been sort of trying to, drive home, and we've, as a community, been trying to drive home, is that Grok being successful is good for DeFi. It's good for crypto, right? And I think a lot of people recognize that. And we're seeing people, tweet about it to just say, like, hey, we want this to be successful, even if they've bought in or not, right? So, there's a lot of like networking going on in order to sort of lift us to sort of like higher levels. Understand though, and make no mistake about it, you never, if you have something that's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And if you have something that's working, you keep your foot on the gas, right? And you keep driving, again, as if you're a 100K market cap token trying to become a 200K market cap token. You don't lose that piece of your identity. You do, however, recognize that you're getting to different places in terms of market cap and in terms of reach. Understand that Elon sees this project. Understand that news outlets, the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, etc., sees and are talking about these projects, right? So that being said, there are people that aren't necessarily a part of the community that want to see this to succeed. I have had conversations with people I never thought I would ever have a conversation with. It's not like, necessarily that the deals are being made or anything, but it's just the fact that just know that there are like very influential people in this world looking at this particular token and project, because they want to see this succeed, and it's a good representative of what DeFi should look like. In terms of this week, obviously, we continue to have listings. There are exchanges that are acquiring supply, and they're buying it from multiple wallets, sometimes even taking it off of the exchanges, things of that nature. So, we'll be seeing more of that. We still haven't had CMC listing yet, guys. So the WinCMC people are like, oh, well, should I buy them? It's already been listed on CMC, people. We don't even have CMC yet. Obviously, right now with CoinGecko, we're pumping up a little bit. We might start to get trending on there. We've done some Twitter trending. We were already organically trending on Twitter, but there's certain things you could do. So we're gonna have some more of that. Elon Trades is currently holding a meme comp. For anyone that's interested in that, it exists outside of this community. He's got a whole separate group for that. So that's super cool. We have another AMA, well, not an AMA, but we have like some more spaces that we're going to join with Kid and Walt today. And also for the first time ever in their history, they're doing a back-to-back Sunday Twitter spaces with the same team. The last time they did that, it was with Refund, I believe, Kid. How did that project? Yep.
We came in there roughly around we started, I want to say, anywhere between like 2 and 3 mil when we found it, had them on our Sunday show, and then we went up to like 120 million when all said and done. That was just a few months back, and yeah, man, this community right here is like 100x, man, in comparison. So, just a privilege to, no other project has a Nuke or a fucking Poly Pocket in their raiding, or a Will coming in and just giving, experience. And, and Doug, it's just such a great community. Come vibe, come check us out. Like, just during the down hours when we're all shooting the shit. It's one of the best environment communities I've been in a long time, man. So hats off to everybody, man.
Yep. And we'll also have further expansion into different markets, different Asian markets. Badao, which a lot of folks in this space know, is definitely influential on the Chinese side of things, and he's someone who's been supporting since day one, and he's got separate groups that he's talking to people with, and he's trying to push this further and further into that space. So I think what we'll start to see over the next week is just some things like just different groups, a little bit more. We'll have a more how do you say, like, literature for people, just so they get the quick and dirty, and give them like a like a one pager on Grok, that kind of thing. You guys can look out for more like weekly updates, sort of like what's to look forward to this week, what we accomplished last week, which we have ongoing. So we're going to add all these elements that will really button us up and get us ready for this next leg up. We've carried ourselves professionally, and now we're going to sort of put that onto paper as well, just to clean things up. And you know what? Like, we're young, but we're moving very, very well, and there's still a lot left in the tank. Still a lot more we can do. So once we achieve those things, we get to the other listings, we get the CMCs and all other stuff. Man, watch out! Watch out!
Yeah, you should get your community to
No,
come up with some suggestions for some of those deepfake AI videos too, because I think those are great, man. You can get so funny with those. I just need better material, and I'm way too busy to think of any.
Geez, man, I posted on Twitter, and someone who has nothing to do with this token took it and they reposted it. I'm like, oh,
That's what
no,
I mean, man. That's the power of that tool. I think is very good, because you see Donald Trump, you're gonna stop, and then it's a funny thing, so you're gonna pay a little bit of attention, and then you hear him mention something like Grok or whatever. You're like, what?
Right, exactly. So yeah, we always take community suggestions. Anything that people bring up, whatever it is, we're always trying to push it. Whatever tweets they want to raid. Everyone's got recommendations on the buy bot. Like, we had gotten, the buy bot from one of our community members. In fact, the person who made it wasn't even a part of the community. He was just like, my sister bought this, and I like it, and he made a video for us.
Yeah, maybe I can also add a sentence regarding the outlook, because
Sure.
actually we have no limits for our creativity. We can produce whatever we want. The examples you already mentioned, we also discussed about a simple anthem created by the community. But what is even more important is AI is the future. ChatGPT, everybody knows it. And it's always a question with these projects also, does Elon support it, or will he block us or whatsoever? And during the 5 days, he has noticed us. He knows that we are here, and he didn't stop us. He didn't block the Twitter account or whatsoever. And we are actually all convinced he even likes this project. He likes the community because he knows what we can move, and he also needs support because he wants to beat, let's say, ChatGPT, and with us he kind of has a global marketing team running around for him and spreading the word. So why would he not like it? Why would he not support it? So this will not stop, and Elon will not stop until his bot is a leading bot. So and on the other hand, AI is the future. Everybody is getting in touch with it, and everybody needs also to build up knowledge and step up his game in the AI sector, so nobody can ignore it. And we also want to be kind of the place to go for anybody who has any question or needs any education in this area. So we are not just talking about shilling the project, shilling the chart, and how can we achieve the next milestone in terms of the market cap, but we also want to help educate everybody who is interested in AI, and everybody should be interested in stepping up the game in AI. So, there are so many things we can do. We are literally in the middle of the future development, and and we are so early, so we have so many things to do and to look forward. It's just amazing.
Yeah, you know, and just to make sure that we just keep on doing the little things that have a massive effect, you know, working like we've barely done anything, like we're still trying to gain that exposure, keeping that hunger, you know what I mean? Being very inviting for the people that come into the community. If anybody has a question, any opinions they have, you know, it's taken with open arms. You know, we don't make people feel any type of way. Obviously, if you're going to come up, if you're going to FUD, then, you know, we'll mute you right away, things like that. We'll give you chances too. You know, obviously some people are stuck in that bear mindset. So some people are going to come with these sometimes weird questions, but at the same time, we won't automatically get rid of you, but you know, we just want people to know the culture that's been being built, the structure there is. And yeah, as long as we keep grinding like we've done nothing, then you know the chart will speak for itself. We barely talk about price action. You know, I happen to notice the new all-time high because somebody mentioned something, but you know, just barely looking at the chart, just making sure we're kind of checking all the right boxes. And as long as we continue to do that, continue to implement all these great plans, all these great ideas that people are bringing to the table, then you know what I mean, sky's the limit. And I barely ever say that, but in it's true though, you know what I mean? So we're just doing a lot of the right things, and we're just going to continue to grow in terms of what else can we bring to the table? What else can we do with just bringing all these minds that are going to continue to come in with all these ideas? And, you know, we're really just going to be able to utilize that to take us to who knows what heights. But you know, it's turning into something great. But at the same time, we've barely scratched the surface, and we just kind of, you know, say it time and time again to the community. But we also work like that too. So, you know, we might be in the middle of having a great conversation and we'll just stop it. Hey guys, shield is up, make sure everybody's attacking it. You know what I mean? Like just to make sure we're sticking to those core fundamentals that kind of took us to this level, but it's still very small in terms of what we think it could be. And it's just great to be here. It's great to have a community like we do. And yeah, man, I think the whole space is taking notice. And actually, I still feel like we're almost flying under the radar. Today is probably the day that they'll take notice now that we broke new all-time high. But you know, to not let it get to our head at the same time, and just keep on grinding, keep working. You know, some of these major companies, that's what they did. You know, they have different people who are great at different roles. You know, I love to play basketball. You know, you have all these different positions that come together that can create like
Represent
one great team. You
basketball,
have a
baby.
point guard who's
Let's
a
go, Will.
great distributor. You might have a
I
scorer.
fucking
You know, you
love
have
this
a
guy.
monster center, but together they create this unit. And like I said, sky's the limit. Just really excited to be here, really thankful, and to everyone who's a part of it.
You know,
No, and
we'll
let's go, baby. I was gonna
Oh,
say,
no,
I was gonna call him up. It's like he knew I was gonna call him up. I was gonna say, I
I felt
actually
it,
wanted to get.
Maurice.
I
I
saw
felt it. I
Walt
knew it.
pop back
Who is
in.
Felt
this
the energy
And I was
crazy
like,
coming.
I
fucking
need to
guy,
get the
huh?
energy, level pumped up here. So Walt, what's going on? I know again we had the chance to break down what these guys were doing only 2 days after, day and a half after launch, I guess, on Sunday on your show. But thanks for coming by, man. It's kids been hanging out. I've seen you pop in and out throughout. How's your day? How's the energy level?
Bro, amazing, bro. You already know. I'm pumped up like the market right now, feeling like a volcano about to erupt. We're seeing it about to blow, guys. I mean, welcome to the bull run. That's all I can say right now. But yeah, man, I'm just at work right now, about to get out. Just want to come by and chime in. We got the show, in a couple hours, and just amazing, man. We've been in DeFi, for quite a while now, right? Me and Kid, and we've seen, the first big, huge narrative of Elon, right? We were part of it. And, that project almost went to 1 billion. And something like this that, has everything, working for itself. We're at the Q4, right now in the, starting of,
This guy is
the bull
dope.
run as well. And you're seeing, right now, Elon, he's at his, maybe top version of himself, buying out Twitter, making it X, now creating a company XAI, right? And now his first, huge juggernaut, production he wants to do is Grok. And this community has just been on fire. They begin, they believed it right from the get-go. We put out the flyer about 3 million market cap, and I mean the conviction was there. And just to see it right now at a 30 mil market cap, you guys, you Maurice doing your thing, as well with Caesar, just to give it that more exposure that it needs. And this is something that you don't see all the time. And we're just having everything lined up all together, having Elon, having a DeFi community behind it, and also, you know, them seeing, you know, really you know, some stuff that's been almost where it's like, is Elon really seeing watching? And we've seen some speculative stuff right now. And I think right now this is just truly the beginning. And I think, you know, crypto has been, you know, waiting for something like this to really take us to the, you know, the bull run. And this money right here that comes in is what brings in, you know, the new investors. And this also brings light to, you know, the huge whales that are out there, or also the people that don't have enough to maybe afford, you know, maybe $100 or $200 that can really make a change. So just something like this, bro, it's just avalanching all together. The community is fucking outrageous. They're amazing. Like Nuke, Will, they just been, you know, leading the way. Carnage, just so many people that were in the beginning. Of course, Kid Crypto, you know, that was just, you know, right from the get-go, just telling me, Walt, this is just something that's just gonna take off. And the community's just been, you know, all stars, you know, just tier one type of community, class, you know, professional. Nuke has been, you know, literally leading the way to victory, man. And I honestly, right now, this is just the beginning. You know, right now, you've seen Ethereum pop to 2050 almost. I believe last time I saw it, Bitcoin is, you know, at all-time high of the year. So guys, with something like this, honestly, this has everything it needs for the gasoline to, you know, really take this, you know, to the, you know, like he said, Will was saying, sky's the limit right now with a project like this. So just appreciate you, Maurice, coming, doing your thing. Congrats on you guys doing your first YouTube live stream. And what better project, right, than Grok? So, and then having Elon narrative attached, it's just too much right now, man. And it just shows the power of fucking community, man. So I love it, man. Let's go.
And your energy is always off the charts, Walt. And again, that's what I think makes your show on Sunday so great with you and Kid and what you guys do over there. And you've had some phenomenal projects headline, and you know, it made sense to have Grok in there as the special project this Sunday, because you guys did really steal the show in this DeFi space, you know, and it's been really impressive to watch that growth. And you know, like I said, it's always important to jump into the community, to do your research, to understand the narrative, to understand the distribution. But I think once people have come in, and as we've alluded to a couple times through at the AMA, you know, once people kind of check those boxes, as Doug said, you know, it's been nice, and it's been a smooth ride to be a part of so far. And you know, as Caesar alluded to in his little locker room talk, right? Like when you find something that checks some of the boxes, we understand that there's, you know, hundreds of plays potentially launching every day. But if you like something, we're not saying like financial
This is
advice, you know,
Maurice's
your
locker
entire
room
life
talk
savings, but
after he just
just
referenced mine.
stick with it. You don't have to
Mighty
dump it
Ducks scored
because it's done
Bombay.
a 25x and
Ducks
you
fly
think
together.
if you get into the next play at 5K, it can go to 20 million like Grok did. Like not every play can beat Grok. So as Caesar mentioned, if you find a community you like, and this goes for any project out there, you know, don't overreact. Try not to get emotional. Understand that, you know, things take time to build, sometimes longer than you want. Caesar posted a different project today that he shouted out as a watch, like this is going to hit around this level, watch it. And that was in January. Well, it just hit that today. That's almost 11 months later. So you never know when things kind of align and may take off. And you guys have had a
Well,
great
Caesar's
start,
the
you know,
GOAT.
running
No
where you
shit,
can,
Maurice.
ton of volume, ton of positivity around the narrative, and you know, just keep rating, just keep the messaging consistent, and try to help those that maybe don't understand and lend a helping hand, as you guys have done so far. And that makes it a really open place for new people. So yeah, man, like again, everybody in the community, shout out Psycho. I gave you a shout out earlier. I know Caesar did as well, but you've been doing a good job. I've seen you in all those spaces that we've been in, and
Everyone's been doing an amazing job, guys. This fucking token, man, I think it's bigger than no one even realizes the true potential of it. Musk is not stopping anytime soon. Everything he's kind of done, you know, SpaceX, fucking Tesla, Twitter, even everything he takes just fucking skyrockets. And this is no different. ChatGPT will get
bro, you got
destroyed
me dying out
by
here right
Grok,
now.
and I think, man, I don't know. Honestly, it's a narrative of a lifetime.
Nuke, if there was anything else, any major touch points you wanted to cover, any announcements or alpha you wanted to drop maybe for the community here at Grok. But I know Caesar has a pretty fun giveaway he's going to be running just specifically for those individuals that, you know, jumped into the AMA here today with Grok from your community. And then there's going to be some from our community that listen through on the YouTube. They're going to, if you guys wanted to migrate over to the YouTube channel, Caesar's going to be doing some fun stuff over there. He's got a full ETH to give away. So again, you know, it's not a bad opportunity, and, you know, it's going to be a cool, positive vibe. You know, talk about Grok. He's going to have the chart up there, do a little review, run some games and some trivia. So yeah, like if there's anything else you wanted to close out with, 100%. I always give the team, the community, the floor, the last words. But from my end, I just wanted to say thank you so much for welcoming me into your community, not only tonight, but last night, and allowed me to kind of participate in that fun little VC you guys have always open, whether it's on Twitter or on Telegram. So I just wanted to say thank you. And again, to anybody who hasn't yet maybe checked out the Grok Telegram, the Grok Twitter, definitely give it a view. Definitely go into the messages, really understand the narrative, the power, and see the exposure they're getting in the you know, the Twitter sphere, the X sphere, through Elon Musk, and the release of his actual product, which has pretty big ambitions from what I've understood. So yeah, like, you guys are awesome. Love what you're doing. And it was really cool, Nuke, to just have that kind of, you know, it was almost a 2-year anniversary from when we first met in November 2021
Right.
to when we connected on stage again Sunday. So it was kind of, the stars did align for sure.
Yeah, the timing, it's always there, right? Let me close out with this. You know, this is to people who maybe just heard of Grok for the first time. Maybe you're just understanding that the alignment between, you know, sort of where this came from. You know, that, you know, obviously Elon's launched a bot called Grok. You know, it's going to be a bot that's on Twitter. It's going to be a bot that stands alone. It's going to be a bot that also he's already going to be implementing into Tesla, as well as to his artificial and general intelligence bot. So let me just say this: understand that you know, outside of Grok project, Elon has to make sure that Grok is successful, Grok is marketed, and Grok has adoption. He took over Twitter a little over a year ago, and it's gotten a lot of slack from the media for how he was trying to transition and change Twitter/X. He didn't buy Twitter outright. He had the support of other banks and other, like, you know, financial providers. And, you know, basically what they're saying is that the valuation of Twitter is a lot lower than what it was purchased for. Obviously, as a leader, you know, you're not doing things for immediate gains, right? You're trying to change things. You know, you're implementing your ideologies and roadmaps and things that you want to see get done, and the benefits will happen in the long run, which is also sort of like what we care about here. We're not here just for sick pumps, right? We're here to go down the path and push our culture out and have people just be a part of it, just see it. You don't have to be a holder, investor, whatever else. Just come hang out. But understand that he has to push this, right? This has to get pushed, and he has to talk about it. And we're seeing the media cover it in different ways. We're seeing him cover it in different ways. We heard him today for the first time in an interview with Lex Friedman talk about it. So understand, when people buy other projects and they're into those narratives, and they want to you know, hope for an Elon tweet for something, like, we're not hoping for it, we're getting it. You know, we're getting it, and we're doing the right thing with it, right? We're taking what was given to us, right, and we're making something out of it. We're not pretending to be a part of Grok token. We're not pretending that you know, Elon launched this or anything like that. This is not a LARP, right? This is real. And what we are getting is we're driving up engagements for the word Grok on Twitter. We're driving up awareness for Grok on outside of Twitter. And because of that, it's getting acknowledged by the right people. A lot of his friends, the founder of Dogecoin, you know, other key opinion leaders in that space are noticing. AI leaders are interacting. There's a lot that's happening. So understand that, you know, when people talk about it's early, because it literally is just early. You know, we've only been around for five and a half days, but you know, the reality is there's a lot to come, and there's a lot of people who want to see this succeed. Everybody's got a different approach or opinion on how it succeed. It's a community-driven effort, community-driven token and project. Everyone can contribute however they'd like. Nobody here owns this, right? You know, maybe I'm a little bit more vocal in the voice chats, but it's not me, it's not Will, it's not Kid, it's not Polly, it's not Doug, it's no one. It's all of us, right? So We're gonna fight as hard as we can. I want to see something be successful in this space. And I'll push as much as I can. I'm not sleeping much or whatever else. We're just grinding it out. These are the early phases. You got to do it right in the beginning. We're doing it as right as we can. Hope everyone's been enjoying the ride, and let's keep it cooking.
Well, on that note, that officially kind of closes out our inaugural AMA on YouTube. And again, Nuke, thank you so much for allowing us the extra day. And again, I got to give another props to the community here from Grok. Thanks for being so understanding. I've delayed an AMA before because we've had to make sure the information was sent properly with enough time to get a write-up done. There's been a couple of different reasons, and not every community or chart always responds well. Sometimes there's a dip, sometimes the dip isn't recoverable, because people panic sell, they don't understand. But you're just like, man, that's completely understand. That's completely okay. We want you to make sure everything's like proper and set up. Jump in the VC, hang out with us for a little bit. We'll vibe and we'll do it tomorrow. And like, it's that kind of laid back attitude that, I mean, you don't always see in a team. You don't want to have a team that's like, or a community that's overreactive. So I think you guys have been very chill, super easy to work with, super easy to watch. And I just wanted to say thank you just for the understanding and just giving us the extra time to make sure this went smoothly. And from what I've heard, the audio and everything in the background was super clear. So we should have a good finished product for you guys afterwards.
Thanks so much, Maurice.